video was originally recorded November 2017 at Tibet House, US, and is a part of the ongoing Force for Good class series. To learn more, please visit tibethouse.us.
We will do the Vajra posture, Vajra yoga. So then we will do one yoga exercise. It's coming from Ati Yoga tradition.
Okay. Okay, great. So everybody had a breath now. Hello, Dee, how are you? Okay, so now in this Panchakrama, of Nagarjuna, he has the 5 stages. And I think I have to find page 66, here we are. And we talked, I think, last time quite a lot about the magic body. And that's the 3rd stage, the magic body, where you have such a profound entry of all the winds into the central channel, and you dissolve the wind into the central channel from the right and left channels. How are you? And then you actually go through the process like similar to the death process, I think I explained to you. And in order to pass the 3rd stage, the mind objective, remember I told you of the 5 stages, and the sometimes called the mind objective, the mind isolation, and then there is the magic body. Those are the 3 names of the 3rd stage, but really you could say 3 parts of the 3rd stage. And in order to reach the mind objective, where the mind is isolated from all perception of ordinariness, you in a way have left the meat body. You have withdrawn from your coarse body to your subtle body, remember through the 8 stages of dissolution we talked about. And then that which is the subtle body is the Zalung Tigle, the drops, channels, and the winds, the energies. And then your mind, subtle mind, is called the mind of moonlit space, sunlit space, and darklit space. Those are luminance, radiance, and immanence, as I call them. And then you reach the super subtle stage, where the body and mind are the same thing, although we call the mind pure energy, very super subtle energy, and no particles, below the area of particle, or maybe wave or something. And the subtle mind is clear light of the void. So it's a clear light of the void. And that, the ordinary human being, we've all been there. We've all been there many, many times. Every time we died in previous lives, we went exactly to that place. In fact, death is defined as where you go out of this coarse and the subtle, which the subtle is like the unconscious, and you come to the super conscious, or super subtle conscious, but we never notice it when we come there, or we wouldn't be reborn as an ordinary unenlightened being, because we go past it too fast. We're used to being a separate being, and we've discussed all this, although some of you are new here, so anyway, you'll just have to experience it with a shock. You're used to being a separate being, where you're inside your skin and the rest of the universe is outside. And at that clear light stage, at the voidness stage, the 4 voids, they call it sometimes, the 4 blisses in other traditions. And when you reach that stage, then there's this sort of slippage into a super subtle plane, where you're completely separate from your coarse body, your meat body. And that is why, at that 3rd stage, the very famous thing of Tantra, which is the male-female union, whether you are a yogi or yogini, you have to have a partner, because there has to be a mother and a father in union. But it isn't ordinary, and then a lot of people get the wrong idea about Tantra, that it's just some sneaky way for a bunch of horny monks to have sex, which is completely wrong, because actually it's not ordinary sexuality at all, but it is the posture of sexual union, but it is completely different, because both partners are at a yogic stage of where they hit the subtle body. And then the reason they are in father-mother union, as it is called, yabyum, not male-female, but actually father-mother. The reason they are in that union is that this gives them a place to return to their coarse body as a Ngagpa, as a siddha, as a shaman. They come back to this, they have to have a mother and a father. And just like they get reborn back in their own body. There's something in the tradition of Marpa, there's something called the 9 mergers, where they merger death clear light with the Samadhi or sleep clear light, and with the enlightenment clear light, which is voidness, that means. And they only do that by the mind of bliss. And I'm not going to go back into that because it would take too long, and we already did it with those of you who are in the class. And you who are latecomers, it's just a shock. But that's what it is. So you actually then at that time, you have a conscious ability to arise from the subtle plane out of your meat-space body. And that's John Perry Barlow's expression. The electronic people who live in the internet, when they get back in their ordinary senses and body, they call it meat space, which I like very much, rather than sort of virtual space. So this is actual virtual space already from the Tibetan, Indian and Tibetan tradition, yogic tradition. You're in this virtual space where you have what's called the magic body, Maya Deha, the Maya body. And rude people call it the illusion body. I don't call it illusion because she's not that's the mother of Buddha. It's Maya Devi, the goddess of Maya. So it's magical. But you can call magic illusion. You can call it that. But it's it's a put down, Whereas when you say magic, it means something creative, rather than illusion, something incorrect or unreal, Because it is real on a virtual level, the magic body. So then in the magic body, depending on what you achieved in the creation stage, where you visualize the mandala and yourself as a deity, like a 4-armed Avalokiteshvara or a 34-armed Yamantaka or whatever different kind of tantric forms there are, whatever stability you had in meditating yourself in that kind of creation stage, now when you have a body like a dream body, like a lucid dream body, but you're in this trance state in a union, and it doesn't have to be a physical union. You could have a what they call an intuition consort, a jnana mudra, and it could be male or female depending on whether you're male or female or how you're meditating yourself. But in any case, in that stage, you then do a lot of meritorious things. And then in that virtual reality, you also go back down to the clear light, and you sort of, in a way, blissfully die out of whatever divine or Buddha body you have, and again come back, and again give your body away, and again come back, and again go through the 4 blisses, and again give your body back, and you come back to your body, to your subtle body. You can do that like you could in a dream, for example. The reason the Bodhisattva takes 3 incalculable aeons of lifetimes in the exoteric teaching to become a Buddha is that Bodhisattva has to live and die, and live and die, and live and die in a human, preferably, or divine, or even animal life form, many, many millions of times. And they have to give their life, and give their body, and give their blood, and commit great acts of generosity, and patience, and tolerance, and ethics, and meditation and wisdom and so on. And it takes a long time. Each time you die and you're reborn, you got to have a mom and dad, you got to go to school, they've got to bring you up, you have to wipe your nose, wipe your butt, and then finally you make your bodhisattva achievement in that life, and then you die. And so it takes a long time. But in the magic body practice, or also he's going to talk about Ati Yoga practice, you do all of that in this subtle plane as if you were in a dream. Like you could have a dream in which you lived and died 15 times in a night. And if you got really good at it, you could do it 100 times. Because you're only going out of a relatively coarse, virtual body, having a virtual slippage into the infinite, indescribable clear light of the void, and then returning to another one, and returning and returning. And that is how the Vajrayana accelerates the evolutionary process of a being from ordinary level to a Buddha being. Yeah, now I'm not saying I know for sure that even this can happen, but this is their technology, this is their system, this is what the great siddhas of India and the Buddha in teaching the Vajrayana, this is the kind of super subtle, highly accelerated, it's like an internal genetic engineering of an altruistic, completely enlightened being, okay? So now the 4th stage, after the magic body stage, when you've achieved that ability, which is of course way beyond me, but I'm just following what they say about it, you come to what's called the 4th stage of the 5 stages of perfection, which is called the stage of, it's called Abhisambodhi, manifest enlightenment, It's sometimes called clear light stage. And because there the emphasis is again on plunging your virtual magic body again and again into clear light of the void, again and again plunging into it, again and again, and then rising up out of it and plunging into it. So because the sort of deep instinctual, self-centered, I'm a being opposed to everything else, all of these instincts, you're working through them at the super subtle, super subconscious level. You become conscious of the super subconscious. And so you no longer, by finally Buddhahood, you have no unconscious. You're conscious of every level yourself, from the subatomic particle, from the quantum, indescribable Copenhagen Declaration level of untheorizable and unquantifiable reality, up to the level of meat space. That's what a Buddha is capable of doing. So much so that then they have this preposterous thing for materialists, but not for us Buddhists, where a being who's a Buddha can manifest simultaneously hundreds of bodies, thousands of bodies if necessary. Although I sometimes worry, where is the Buddha's Nirmanakaya, and where was he or she and it when we were voting? Why weren't they casting the vote? I wonder about that. But so I get a little dubious sometimes. But that's the theory, anyway, I'm explaining, okay? So now Nagarjuna describes this fourth stage. He says, I pay homage to the Vajra hero, teacher of universal emptiness. I will explain the fourth stage of manifest enlightenment. That's Abhisambodhi. It's the original self-existent Lord, the sole great-souled deity. Greater than him is the Vajra mentor, because he grants the personal instructions. Having truly, now again, Dr. Nida, who was not only a doctor, he is a Vajra mentor. I am not. So actually we're in the presence of one of the Vajra mentor for his disciples, that means. And which I hope to be one. But I don't know, he hasn't accepted me necessarily yet. I'm not sure he's going to accept the professor. I don't know for sure. But I hope so. And then there's a lot of things about how great the Vajra mentor is, but I'm not going to read all of it because I want to get to him, but I want to read it just enough to have touched on it. The luminances should be generated, striving with the enlightenment spirit. And this is the initiatory thing. Place them in the vase, and the mentor out of love at midnight consecrates the good disciple at midnight. Having truly gotten the consecration in the pre-dawn light again, the disciple folds one's palms to please the mentor with worship and praise. And here, this is, then as those of you who are new here don't know that, the moonlit space, sunlit space, and the darklit space are these three: luminance, radiance, and immanence, or those are called the three luminances. Even the black one, the dark one, is a black luminance. And then the clear light is this gray twilight, like transparency is really a better translation than clear light, because it's not a brightness that has shadows, casts shadows, and has the opposite of darkness. The brightnesses are at the subtle mind level of sun and moon, and the darkness is its opposite. But the clear light is both bright and dark simultaneously. That's why it's indescribable, because it's both brilliant and it's both pitch black. So they make analogy, pre-dawn twilight is the time of the clear light of the void, only to be realized through the melting of the great bliss, what they call the Mahasukha. So anyway, then the disciple, after receiving that consecration, prays the Guru mentor. He says, I pay homage to you, the unconditional, liberated from the three realms, which are the realm of matter, the pure matter of desire, realm of pure matter, and realm of matter, immaterial realm. Enlightened, equanimous as the space, not corrupted by all desires. I pay homage to you, the unconditional, not dependent on the aggregates, that's the body-mind complex, not on the elements and nor the media, those are the sense spheres, but liberated from all mistakes. I pay homage to you, the unconditional, free of concepts and imaginations, your mind free of fixed abode, your mind utterly inconceivable, whose mind is like open space without fabrication or corruption. I pay homage to you, the unconditional. Grant the vision of direct enlightenment, whose nature is universal emptiness. And the disciple, now this is because, it's very interesting, the highest of the initiations is called the word initiation. And it's beyond the initiation of the consort or the vase initiation, the secret initiation, the wisdom intuition initiation, which are the first three, although sometimes those are unpacked into a whole number. But the most powerful one is the word one. And the word one is received just by hearing the word. that like you are, clear light, you are Buddha in clear light, etc. Male, female, whatever the word, you are Guya Samadhi, you are great perfection, you are whatever you are, Vajradhara. So it's just hearing the word in that time of the subtle plane, because the word is it's mantra, and the word creates in a way that state. So it's the hearing of that word. It's very, very interesting. So then the guru, the mentor, as I like to call it. I don't like the word master so much. I mean, there is such a thing, but the problem with master is master has to have a slave, whereas mentor has a disciple, and it's sort of a little lighter. It isn't quite as heavy as the guru word, but the master is not wrong, of course. So then one asks, you see, and this is after midnight and after this and that. It says, great protector, grant me the vision of direct enlightenment, free from evolution and birth, abandoning the three illuminations. So beneath those three lights and darkness. Great mentor, grant to me the great intuition of all Buddhas, the abode of all the transcendent ones, the unexcelled Vajra intuition. And the reason I call it intuition, I just want to say this. This again, other people don't do this. They go wisdom, wisdom, wisdom all the time. But there's two words, prajna, which means like supercritical insight, wisdom, and then jnana, which actually means simply knowledge. But I call it intuition because no self-centered person can see the clear light. Even Buddha doesn't see the clear light, because Buddha is the clear light, and everything is the clear light. So it's like when you see a reflection in a mirror, all you see is the details of the reflection. The reflection is purely on the surface of the mirror, but simultaneously with your perceiving of all these objects in the mirror, you have an intuition which you don't have to articulate at all, but you have a parallel knowledge that they're just on the surface of a mirror, right? So the Buddha has a parallel knowledge in dealing with the suffering beings, and still in the relative plane through his emanation body, that he also is all of those beings and is the clear light of the void, like the mirror is the clear light of the void, which is not just, it's not like they're in the mirror or the mirror is under them or behind them or inside them. They are the whole surface and every texture and every configuration and every fiber of every living being and every atom and subatomic energy is the clear light of the void. And so, the eye cannot see itself, The Buddha is a being that has melted completely into that, and yet and then holds that intuition and never leaves it, and yet can have wisdoms and knowledges and rainbow light rays and interact with beings who are not as gassed out as he is, or she is. They're female Buddhas also, right? And they're pretty blissful, like they get along, those Buddhas. And therefore, they're compassionate when they see beings who are like all hung up because they think they're separate from everything, and what's going to happen to me? Am I going to go to hell, or am I going to die, or I get sick? And that bliss and that Buddhahood must be somewhere else. And they feel compassionate for such beings. So they interact with it. And then you can't bomb them into bliss. Even you are a vast cloud of bliss. You can't bomb people into bliss. Because some paranoid person, if they suddenly think that bliss is coming at them from every direction, or even from inside them, they're going to have a freak out. They're going to think the alien is taking rebirth in their stomach or something. Or that somebody's smothering them with energy. Right? So then the skillful art form of Buddhahood shows all kind of these emanation bodies and mystical bodies and things like that. Okay? So that's why I call it intuition. Because people who say, oh, I saw emptiness yesterday, they're making a mistake. Because you can't see emptiness. Because right now this is emptiness. And we're seeing the things, because the emptiness doesn't get in the way of the things, doesn't destroy them. There's no like emptiness that's somewhere else. This is emptiness, right now, right here, tip of your own nose. Okay, so it's an intuition, however, that it's emptiness, since it looks like somebody's nose. Okay, so then he says, grant to me the great Vajra, and Vajra means that clear light of the void, diamond it means. The great Vajra, beginningless and endless peace, purifying all afflictions, purifying body, speech, and mind. And beginningless is very important, because whenever you realize that, you realize you always were there. It's not a new insight to you. It's not a new thing. You don't go into a new place. You realize you were always in that place. If you remember when Buddha attains enlightenment, and the other of you, I've been harping on this for many, many classes, but those of you who weren't here, I'm just filling you in, remember when Buddha under the Bodhi tree achieved perfect enlightenment, first, at the same moment really, he remembered infinite previous lives, and then he became aware of everybody else's infinite previous lives. And then that sort of this phased it, so he was everywhere in every moment of time and space. Then he was aware of everybody else's future lives. And then he was everywhere in time, and time as well as space, which was then the final nirvana, where he melted through bliss into clear light of the void. So then he does that. Then I have to skip. And then, the Noble One proclaims the ultimate and primal occurrences, or centerless occurrences, or central occurrences, or limitless occurrences, or limited occurrences. All these are universal emptiness, where there is no going and no coming, no ending and no increasing, no thing and no none-thing, wondrous in form yet not wondrous, not abiding and not passing quickly, what is free of all conventions of existence and non-existence, with no form of merit or sin, supreme without any nature of merit or sin. The Buddhas proclaim that all of these are universal emptiness. The yogi attains thus such reality, gaining the inexhaustible body of the sole friend of beings, whose nature is animate and inanimate, the human lion of the nature of intuition, the cause of all beings. The crooked body becomes straight, firm, and abiding without any abode, whose eyes are wide open even when they are closed, who is entranced even when not meditating. Even though one uses words, one is inexpressible. Though one has pleasures, one has no grasping. Though one is savior of the world, one is the slave of others. Who realizes reality ends all faults. The disciple who has gotten the instruction trains in these two, and there's some other things. Okay, so I don't want to go on too long because I want to give a lot of space. But anyway, all is accomplished by universal emptiness. The spirit of enlightenment, that means love and compassion of the Bodhisattva spirit, is called the Absolute. So this is absolute relativity. And one receives this sort of initiatorily from the mentor, and by that word, somehow the transmission of that word from one who themselves is the manifestation of that clear light, then the yogi becomes the clear light. Then there's the fifth stage, which is the stage of communion, where in the stage of communion, I call it communion. Other people call it integration or simply union. The reason I call it, come sit, yes, there's a chair here next to Christiana. Please come up and sit. Nice lady in the green dress.
Margaret.
Here you go, right here.
That's Margaret.
Okay, yeah.
Margaret.
Christiana's making a space. There you go. So, I call it communion, although I know that the Pope Francis might feel disturbed. But the point is that union is sort of seems like it doesn't necessarily emphasize the idea that there's still the pair of things. The Tibetan word sungjuk, or yuga nada in Sanskrit. The yuga part means a pair, and the nada means united. But they're still so they're both one, and yet they're individually enjoying being one. So it's like it has that com, and the Latin com means together. So communion means two things, two beings together in union. At least two, you know. So that's why I think it's the perfect word for sungjuk, which is the tantric expression for Buddhahood. Welcome.
My name is Margaret.
I pay homage to the Savior, whose nature is cause and effect, yet abandons all duality. I will explain the final stage of communion. Abandoning the two notions of samsara and nirvana, wherein they become the same thing, that is called communion. So communion, the state of communion, like a Buddha, nirvana and samsara are same. So they never leave, that's the key point. Buddhas don't leave. Shakyamuni Buddha is still here. Yuthok Yonten Gonpo is still here. Padmasambhava is still here. Ngagpa is still here. They never leave. They seem to leave a coarse body to teach impermanence to some types of beings. But on the plane of their what's called Sambhogakaya, their body of beatitude, of perfect bliss, they're always present completely. Because and the poor guys or girls, they're one with us in all of our problems. They actually permeate us. All Buddhas do. They're in every atom of every cell because we're made of that kind of clear light. So when abandoning the two notions of samsara and nirvana, wherein they become the same thing, that is called communion. Knowing the addictive and the purificative, both as the Absolute itself, who knows them as just the same, knows the communion. The notion of things with their forms and the notion of nothingness, The yogi or yogini who treats them as the same, that one knows this communion. Who abandons the cognitions of permanence and annihilation, that one is the sage who knows the reality of this stage of abiding communion. Knowing wisdom and compassion as one who acts in such a way is said to have communion. So it goes on, I don't want to read all of it, it's all in that vein. And in a way, my view is this is kind of the new translation school's way of expressing Ati Yoga, what they call. It's their way of saying it. So it's where both traditions, the old translation school and the new translation school, meet in communion, beyond terms of old and new. And I think that's very important to avoid sectarianism, that people are aware of that. That's my personal view. So then finally he says, this is the non-dual intuition, the unlocated nirvana. It is the Buddha Vajrasattva himself or herself, Mrs. Vajrasattva, Vajradhatu Ishvari, and the Lord Mentor of all. The heroic march Samadhi, the form of the man of great knowledge, the Vajra-like Samadhi, the abode of the stage of perfection, the magical illusion-like or magical Samadhi, and non-duality, all are said to be it. Whatever expressions such as unborn or birthlessness, which teach the non-dual intuition, all of them are expressions of this. No other is explained. The Buddhas, quite as numerous as the sands of the Ganga River, realize this very thing, and abandoning being and nothingness, attain the essence of the great seal, or what I like to translate, the great embrace. The great yogi who is training, abiding in the state of communion, by meditation on that communion, one's deeds are non-dual from that. As is oneself, so one's enemy. As is one's wife, so a demoness. As is a courtesan, so one's mother. As is a Brahmin, so a washerman. As is one's skin, so one's clothes. As is chaff, so a jewel. As is wine, so urine. As is food, so excrement. As in sweet-smelling camphor, so the smell of excrement. As is the speech of praise, so the speech of contempt. Such a terrific Vajri considers day and night the same. As Rahu, so Vajradhara. As dream-like things he sees, destruction like being at ease, happiness like suffering, anger like love, hell like heaven, evil and good as just alike. So knowing, the intuitive one, without hesitation, does everything, achieving all by the hidden discipline, attaining all perfections. This supreme fifth stage, by the merit gained from teaching it, may the whole world sport with this samadhi of communion. So that's Nagarjuna, anyway. So maybe that's like the Dawa, Targom Jo. Anyway, now Genla, please tell us the Targom Jo Sum of your Ati Yoga. And then, by the way, the Genla will sign, I think you will sign books. If people get this book, we have the book back there in the store. And anybody wants Genla to sign it, then he will do that afterwards. Unfortunately, I can't distribute my Dalai Lama life book. I gave away 100 copies yesterday. So it's sort of preliminary things. This is a copy I gave to Genla. I gave away over 100 copies yesterday, and I was MC of a special gala here at Tibet House in midst of this wonderful art of the Tibetan repatriation collection. And everybody teased me afterwards. I promoted everyone who was there. I promoted Tibet House. I promoted the people who visited. I promoted the people who helped. And I forgot to mention the book. I didn't promote my book. And I'm one of the authors, 3 authors, of this book, which is The Life of the Dalai Lama, which in a way is, he's Guru Rinpoche's special emanation for today. And he's the warrior and hero of non-violence amid a planet awash in weird dictators, which we have to be careful about what will happen. So anyway, I thank you again. I then now promoted my book today. I was scolded yesterday by my wife all the way home. You didn't even mention your book. And I got carried away telling stories and things. So, okay, Gela, your turn.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think we start with yoga posture, because Professor already talked enough, right?
Professors do that.
Yes,
They can't help it.
I think now we do some yoga posture. It's called the Vajra Yoga posture. Some of you, I think you have my book page? Already in page number 105. It's a very simple posture.
105.
Okay, Suchin, you want to do this posture? Vajra posture. So everyone stand up. Can you remove your shoes, please? We're going to do this Vajra posture. So one of the best yoga posture according to Tibetan yoga tradition. Okay?
I'll hold the picture again so you can show the posture.
All right, so your feet are like this. How do you call it? Suchin, like this. Yeah, you can come here. You can come here. Up
Oh,
here.
Suchin will show.
Mm-hmm. Your hands up. So straight here and like this here. Up. Your heels are up and touching together. Okay, straight. Can you help, Professor? Okay, that's very good. Yeah. Yes, very good. Yeah.
What?
Little bit down. Very good. It's
yeah.
a very easy
I know,
posture,
but be
right?
careful, don't fall over. I might
Heels
fall.
are up, little bit up. Yeah, then you just do like this. Yeah, down, like down. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Little bit down. Heels are touching together. Yeah, and push up. Up. Heels are up. And touching together, yes. Like this. All right, good, very good. Straight your back. Yeah, just put your hand. Yeah. Heels are up. Yeah, up. Heels are up and touching together. Yes, very good. Okay, yes, good. Down. You can do like this. Yeah. Okay. Are you sweating? Okay, the ones who are sweating, you can sit down. Stay in this position until...
Oh, really? Until you're supposed to sweat?
Yeah,
wow,
until you sweat or you feel hot, okay? You're already sweating? Okay,
very
you can
good.
go down.
Eric, put your hands up there. Don't be so lazy.
No, I think he's already sweating. Like this. Okay, warms up the body very fast. You feel warm already? Yeah, now you can sit down. How about you? Okay, sit down,
warm.
sit down.
So your throat's supposed to be like straight.
Yeah.
And the angle.
Like this. Yeah?
And you hold it into your heart.
Yeah. Until you really start to sweat, and then you can sit down.
Oh, nice. It's good for the winter.
So that's...
You feel the heat, right? It means energy is circulating, energy is moving,
it really does.
and your blood is flowing. Not easy because it's the first time.
Okay.
Is it the first time?
Yeah.
So.
How long do you normally hold it for?
Normally you can do, in the beginning you do about 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, and maximum is 30 minutes. And so this posture is called the Vajra posture. As Professor said, the Vajra means diamond, You can call it the diamond posture, right? So if you can stay in this posture, you will become a diamond.
Wow.
What else you need? Right? You'll become a sweating diamond. This is really the best yoga, not only for the body, also for the mind. Okay? Ati Yoga's only posture.
Well, that's the only position of Ati Yoga?
Yeah. They are one of the main posture, yeah.
Yes.
How often you do that?
You do it every day. Okay, let's do this 3 times a day. Morning 5 minutes, afternoon 5 minutes, evening 5 minutes. Okay? Good? Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So it's very easy. You do it standing. If it's too tiring, you can also lie down. You can do this also on your bed, yeah. Yeah, you can do like this too. Beside the worm, you will become... Yeah. It's called the energy of the Vajra. It means, Vajra means indestructible. Indestructible, okay? Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Ati Yoga. Thank you very much. Tuji chena. And I think Professor already mentioned about Sutrayana and then Tantrayana or Vajrayana. So we have Sutra and Tantra, and then according to the old school, then we have this Dzogchen. It's called the Mahasantiyana. So there are 3 yanas. And Sutrayana's main philosophy is the renunciation. So more it's a monastic tradition, right? So monastic tradition. So the main philosophy is how to renounce, right? Or how to avoid the causes of the sufferings or the problems. So that's why Buddha is always suggesting to become monks and nuns, right? Then you don't need to get divorced and fighting with couples and having troubles with the kids, right? So that's the best suggestion according to Sutrayana, to become a monk or to become a nun, then your life is cool. And then Tantrayana is more about transformation, so transforming the negative emotions into... Tantrayana is more like, in the Western tradition, is alchemy, you know. It's an inner alchemy, so how we can transform the negative emotions into positive emotions, or the negative emotions into the wisdom. And then in the old school, we are talking about 3 types of yogas. So these 3 types of yogas, they are kind of called the Dzogchen, the Great Perfection. And first yoga is called Maha Yoga, and second yoga is called the Anu Yoga. And this yoga, this my book, this is about Ati Yoga. Okay, Maha Yoga means the great yoga, and Anu Yoga.
Anu Yoga is corresponding yoga, maybe, something like that. Anu, following Anu.
Following yoga.
Sequential yoga.
Maha Yoga, Anu Yoga, and then we have Ati Yoga, 3 yogas. Okay. So in the Indian tradition, when we say yoga, it's more referred to physical exercises. But in Tibetan tradition, when we say yoga, the meaning of yoga is the ultimate state. So yoga can be like the body yoga, and the energy yoga or speech yoga, and also can be mind yoga. So mind meditation, that's also known as yoga. So we meditate, the goal of the meditate is to understand the true nature of mind. Okay, so that's why we need this mind yoga. And then we do energy work or chanting mantras and doing prayers and breathing exercise, the one we did before. Those are all called like energy or speech yoga. To do this in order to understand or achieve the ultimate state of our energy. And then we do physical yoga like this Vajra posture, and there are many other postures, but this is one of the best, you know, these postures, and to try to understand the true nature of our human body. So in this case we call human body is called the Vajra body, the diamond body, or the indestructible body. So that's why when we say yoga, you know, it can be 3 meanings. It can be the physical one, or the breathing one, or the chanting one, or the meditating one, okay? But these 3 yogas, Maha Yoga, Anu Yoga, and Ati Yoga, they are more referred, to our mind, okay? In a very simple way, Maha Yoga, it's an antidote for anger. Maha Yoga is antidote anger. Who has short temper? Who are the short-tempered ones? Only few, wow, only few. Only few people. Show me, you're not short-tempered? Okay. All right, so in a very simple way, these 3 yogas are targeted in 3 different personalities, right? So the first group of people, they are short-tempered people, angry people. Irritable.
Irritable.
Irritable
Or
group.
very like,
Okay, so if you are irritable or if you are short-tempered, you should practice Maha Yoga. That's your yoga, okay? And then the second group is group with desire, strong desires. And then that practice is called Anu Yoga. And desire for eating chocolate, sweet, pasta, spaghetti. And there are many other desires, right? Who are in this desire group? Okay, who like to eat sweet? You don't like to eat sweet?
Once in a while.
Okay, so desire group. That's called Anu Yoga, okay? And then the third group is the group, confused group.
Ati Yoga.
Ati Yoga. Timuk.
Timur.
Confused the group. So if you don't like that confused, the word, we can say also stupid group. Or another word is called the ignorant group.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, so that's the final group. There are no other groups. Angry groups and desire group and confused group. Okay, who are in the confused group? Who are in confused group? There are more people. Okay, that's very good. And if you think you have all of them, you're in the confused group. Okay? But you say, I have little bit this one, that one, also this one. Okay, the last group, confused group. Okay? So that's the target of Ati Yoga. Okay? So the Ati, it's a Sanskrit word. The Ati, it's a Sanskrit word. It means there are many translations, but I like this word of extreme. Ati Yoga means extreme yoga. Okay, extreme yoga.
Like radicals.
Yeah, radical, extreme. And so why it's extreme? Why it's extreme? Because it's extremely simple. Okay? Extremely simple. That's why it's called Ati Yoga, right? So, because we are all confused, and the best antidote for confusion is simplicity, right? So our mind is so, like complexity. Our problem is the complexity, right? And so the antidote is the simplicity. And so that's why Ati Yoga, Shinto, like Shinto. Tibetan they call Shinto. Shinto means also like very, really like this, but I like this English word, extreme simple. And I think many of you know about Albert Einstein, the scientist. And so when his quotation, my favorite, his quotation, he said, everything must be simple, but not simpler. Have you heard that? He said in the physics studies, everything, in the science studies, everything must be simple, but not a simplified version. Everything is simple. And that makes sense with Ati Yoga. Ati Yoga says the spirituality, the meditations and yogas, everything also must be simple. Okay? But not a simpler version. It is simple. So in that sense, Ati Yoga means the extreme simple yoga, okay? Like the yoga posture, right? If you learn the Indian yoga, there are so many yoga postures. You can learn like so many different, 100 of different yoga postures, the standing one and sitting one, stretching one, right? There are so many of them. And the same way also if you learn Tibetan Tsalung or Yantra yoga, there are many, many postures. Ati Yoga says you just do this Vajra posture and that's enough. It's simple, right? I showed you once and now you know how to do it. Now you don't need to go to a yoga studio. You go a yoga studio and try it. Just now you know how to do it, right? It looks like do we have a Vajra here? You know the Vajra symbol, right? Vajra symbol. So this upper part of Vajra, if you stay like this, is the lower part of Vajra. Like So you can do that. You can do that standing. You can do that sitting. You can do that lying down on the back, on the belly. Just one posture. Okay. So that's about Ati Yoga. And if we talk about physical, body part, it's very simple because there's just one posture. And this one posture eliminates 72,000 blockages of our channels. All right, so we have so many channels in our body, and this posture will eliminate all blockages in our body. And this, mentally also the meditation itself, Ati Yoga, it's very simple, right? There are many, of course, if we talk about Anu Maha Yoga, the meditation is a little bit complicated, So I think you can see many like the restful deities, the Tibetan restful deities, right? And the entrance, there's a big one, the red one. So when you see that image, how do you feel that?
Great. Empowering.
Okay, so that's the expression of human anger. Do you understand? You should not see that as it's an art. That's just expression of our inner emotions, right? And especially the red ones, the red ones. Why it's a red? Because it's fire, right? It's an expression. When you are really, really angry, what do you do? How do you shout?
You become red.
Yeah, you become red, right? How do you shout? Somebody can shout when you are really angry.
Get red in the face. Turns red.
Red in the face, right? So you see, if you look, now you know that, now you should look at one of these very wrathful, fierceful image. And then you see that's your mirror, that's your reflection. When you are angry, exactly like that, right? The moment you are angry, you don't have a mirror, you don't see yourself, right? So that's why, we don't recognize this, our own, inner emotions. But now if you see one of these image, that's exactly the image while you are angry, okay? So Maha says according to this Maha Yoga teaching, we should not deny our emotions. We should not repress and suppress our emotions. If you're angry, you should get anger come out. All right? And so how you can make the anger come out? That's a question. So our normal anger, when we really get angry, right? We harm other people, right? We are so angry and this and that, you use bad words and this, then other people get hurt. And then later we feel bad too, right? So if you don't shout and if you don't express your anger in front of those people, and then you suffer because you keep that volcano inside. And so this volcanic force is there. So that's called the stress. You're holding the anger, right? That's called the stress. You see, so normally we have two choices. Or we are going to harm other people, or you harm ourselves, right? But Maha Yoga says there is a third solution. What is third solution? You express your anger while you are meditating. You are alone. Nobody is next to you. Nobody is next to you. But you make yourself really angry and let your all anger force, the force of anger, come out, and then you become like the deity, like Yamantaka. We have here Yamantaka.
Yeah,
right?
there's two big Yamatakas.
There's a Yamantaka. Okay, and so you are meditating, but you are mentally, you really imagine you becoming Yamantaka or Hayagriva, all these fearful ones. Okay, so Tibetan Vajrayana, if you see really closely, it's a perfect. It is a perfect, psychotherapy. I call it the one of the best self-psychotherapy. If you know how to do these sadhana meditations and these things, that's the perfect meditation, right? You see, for some people, these restful practices, it doesn't work because maybe your nature is not a fire element. You are more like water or more like earth, right? More earth and water is attachment. desire. And if your nature is a fire, and then this kind of meditation, it works very well, right? You have a tanka, you have a wrathful Buddha image, and imagine that's your image, and you are releasing your anger, you are releasing your pressure, stress, everything, right? So you're helping yourself because you release everything. You are not harming anyone because nobody sees, nobody receives that you are bad, the anger vibration. All right, so that's called the Maha Yoga. That's called the Maha Yoga. I think Professor explained that part as a generation stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I call it creation stage.
Creation stage. Okay, you recreate yourself. Right? You recreate yourself. The wrathful deity, it shows 100% of expression of human anger. Right? 100%. Is if you look the deities, the eyes and their nose and their teeth and their muscles, everything. Like this. You do this meditation again and again. After meditation you are so tired, so you never get angry. Right? So it really works. And then the second meditation is called the desire. And then again, like Professor mentioned earlier, this union the Buddhas, right? You see some union the Buddhas. So that's the symbol of human desire. So we have so many different kind of desires. Desires of eating sweet, desire, what's your desire? Show me. Desire of making more money and exactly. So we have so many different kind of desires, right? Actually, our life is based on like endless desires, desire and desire. We need this one and that one, right? Our life is based on the desires, and one of the strongest desire is human sexual desire. And so somehow that's why this union Buddha, that's the message of our desire. But again, the problem is we don't know how to handle that desire, right? We don't know how to handle. That's the problem. We don't know how to handle anger. Vajrayana doesn't say anger is something bad, right? Anger, it's called a poison. It's a poison. Poison is not negative. Poison means simply dangerous, right? But the poisons, if you know how to use them, they are good medicines. All antibiotics, right? Antibiotics, they are all poisons. But if you know when you use antibiotics, for what you use, and how many times you use, it's a medicine, right? So especially in chemical medicine, we see this example perfectly. It is a medicine, and same time also it's a poison, right? So that's why Vajrayana says all these our inner emotions, they are like kind of poisons. If you know how to use them, we can use them in a very good way, right? Antibiotics, they are poisons, you take it and your infections get cured, right? So if you refuse antibiotics saying it's a poison, there can be a danger of your life, right? That's very easy to understand, right? I think this is the reason today there are so many people, they try to refuse antibiotics. Okay? So that's exactly similar. So many people, they try to refuse their anger, but it doesn't work. Or the anger harm others, or the anger can harm ourselves, right? And recently there are many research saying that anger can cause a heart attack. Some people, they don't show their anger. All of us, we have anger, but they don't express much. They are always keeping, and they are likely to have heart attacks, right? And many people, they die with that. So if anger causes the heart attack and kills somebody, of course, that's a poison, right? That's a very bad poison. And so we don't know how to handle that poison, and that's why this Maha Yoga says, meditate on the wrathful deities. Wrathful deities, you are imagining you are the wrathful deities, and also when we are angry, we use bad words, and then you chant the mantras. Some mantras are like hulu hulu, for example. Hulu hulu, hana hana. Right? These are the expression of like anger, the anger speech. Hulu hulu has no meaning. Hana hana has no meaning, but it's a way to express our anger, right? How do you say when you are really angry in American English? Eric, how do you say? Huh?
That's New York.
That's so soft. And he's smiling as if, fuck you. You see the speech and expression doesn't match, right? Because he's not saying that fuck you in from of his like deep dimension, you know? Right? Otherwise, when you use that word like that, right? Okay, so that's about Mahayoga, and then the Anu Yoga is more about desire, you know, how to work with the desire, and also again the visualization of the deities, you know, some deities like Vajra Yogini, and there are some deities, they are also kind of, how do you say, sexy?
Yes.
Can I say that?
Sexy, sure. Attractive,
attractive,
seductive,
magnetizing these deities. So if you read this text they explain very, very, very clearly. If you do really according to that, we can release very easily this our desire, you know. We can really easily to, how do you say, to process our all desires, okay? And so we have many desires, but most powerful desire is sexual desire. But when you meditate with this union, the Buddhas and so on, it's a way to process our desire, okay? And it works, you should try. And then the last one is Ati Yoga is the ignorance. So that's our main problem, right? Ati Yoga is the ignorant. As the Buddha said, there's a Buddha's word. Buddha said, the darkest the night. Buddha said the darkest the night is the ignorance. Right? So it's about the darkness. Ignorance is about darkness. And so we get lost in that darkness. It's called confusion, right? And then somehow in that darkness, we see a way, but we don't want to go that way. That's called the stupidity. So in that darkness holds all problems, right? Confusion, stupidity, ignorance. Shanda kariyorila, injikela.
Lo.
Shanda injikela kariyor.
Ignorance. Misknowing is my favorite. Misknowing.
Like misknowing.
Misknowledge.
Misknowledge.
Like misunderstanding. Misperception.
Okay? They are all in the darkness, their own darkness. And that's the reason.
Delusion also is.
Delusion. Okay? You know these words, right? So that's like all these things are represented by the darkness, and that's why my book is called the Mirror of Light. So I like use the word of the light. Actually, the light is like a professor was saying, is not like this light, you know. One part is shining and one part there's a shadow or dark and like this. So it's like an infinite light, which is saying in Ati Yoga is saying that's the true nature of ourself. Okay, true nature of ourself. And then there's another Buddha's teaching. It's a very simple teaching. Buddha said, be a light, or be the light, or be a light. Right? That's one of Buddha's teaching. And that's our meditation too. That's our meditation too. All the, especially in the Ati Yoga tradition, there are 3 steps. The first step is called the introduction. Okay? Ngotrepa. Tibetan word is ngotre means, introducing, right? Introduction. And so you can introduce yourself, or I can introduce you somebody else, you know. Introduction, that's ngotre. It's a very simple word. So then introduction, what kind of introduction? This introduction, it's a teaching about ourselves. What is the, we are not going in many different philosophical views and not many different explanations and stages and different paths and these things. Just directly, because I told you the Ati Yoga means extreme, right? Extreme yoga, extremely simple. So this Ati Yoga is saying, simply we need to know who we are. But then in order to know who we are, somebody need to introduce ourselves, right? I know my name, I know my skin color, I know myself as this person, but I don't know my true nature. So until I read the Ati Yoga book, or until I received the Ati Yoga teaching. So when I received Ati Yoga teaching, what our teacher said is, we are made of light, nothing else. So then that's the introduction. It's something very simple, right? So here in the text says our skin is full of light, our muscles are full of light, our bones are full of light, our blood is full of light. Like the human body is made of light, and that's the original nature. Right? So the result is origin, and the result is together now and here. If you talk about our energy, also is the same. Our energy is full of light. Full of light. And how do you say? Pervasive. Full of light and pervasive and infinite. And then we talk about the mind. What is the nature of mind? And nature of mind also full of light. Right? Or full of wisdom or jhana. And normally we talk about the 5 different kind of jhanas, like 5 different kind of wisdoms, right? So also the word of Buddha in Buddhism, we call Buddha. You know what Buddha means? Buddha. Buddha means awaken, right? Buddha means awaken. So Ati Yoga says, we are like now all we are awakened, right? Are you awake? Okay, that's up to you. Okay, that's up to you. This is the thing. If you think you are awake, and this moment you are already awake. Do you understand? So our problem is, our mental problem is we get lost. We get lost in our memories, we get lost in our future project, like Xiaomin. And then we get lost in our distractions. Right? We get lost in distractions. So if we go out on the city, on the street, there are so many noises, so many cars, so many people. Our mind is simply get lost in this busy samsara, in the distractions. Okay? And so what is the best antidote is like mindfulness. But Ati Yoga's mindfulness, I think it's more powerful than the normal, ordinary mindfulness. What we talk, right? So Ati Yoga's mindfulness is, it's not only you are conscious, you are awake here and now, but this nature, everything is made of light. There is no darkness, there is no pain, there is no suffering. There is no past, there is no future. So it's a transcendental. The true nature of our mind, it transcends from time and space. And how do you call the physical, the material dimension? Okay? For example, Yuthok, he is the father of Tibetan medicine. He says he can play with the time. He can grab millions of years and he can put them in one instant. Or he can grab one instant. He says he can stretch the time. Right? He was a master of time. And he says in one instant he can travel in many different dimensions. Right? In one instant, one very short moment of time, and he can manifest, enters in many dimensions. Right? So that shows like he can master the space. Right? So our problems, why we have so many problems, why we are so much confused, why we get sick, why we are like samsara, the constant cycle of the pain and suffering and fight and conflict. That's called the samsara, right? Like this. So what is the main cause of these things? Because we got lost inside. Okay? We are distracted. We got lost inside. It's exactly same like the dream. When we are dreaming, right? When we are dreaming, we get lost in the dream. We think we had to work in the dream. We think we had to go somewhere. We think we need to drive a car in the dream. We think we need to meet somebody. We think we need to eat in the dream, right? We think we need to buy in the dream, right? Is that stupid? That's 100% stupidity or ignorance, right? In the dream, we don't need to work. Why you need to work? Even you work so hard, nobody pays you. Right? In the dream, you see a shop and you go there, you want to buy something, then you think, oh, I have no money. But you don't need to pay. Everything is free in the dream. Right? So we have to think about the dream. And we must know how stupid we are in our dream. Okay? We really get lost in the dream. You think, oh, you need to drive your car. Why you need a car in your dream? Right? And you see so many unpleasant things in your dream. Why you need to see them? Why? Do you understand? And who puts all these things in our dream? Of course, we bring them in our dream. So that shows, the dream really shows what is our problem. Our problem is we just get lost. We get lost in the distractions. We get lost in the time. We get lost in the space. Simply, we get lost.
Please tell him the story about the man who kept dreaming he was being chased by a demon. Please tell us. No, that's your story. No.
Yeah. One story says somebody was dreaming, being chased by a demon. Every night this demon is coming, holding a knife. And this man is always so scared and he's, running. And so one night in the dream he stopped. Finally he stopped. And then he told the demon, why you are chasing me every night? What you want from me? And this demon said, I don't know, this is your dream. You see? Demons are telling the true story, right? These demons, they have no idea, why they are running there in your dream and why they are holding a knife. They have no idea, right? That's called our ignorance and our stupidity. We put a demon there and then we escape from that, right? So you see, for example, you are having many troubles in that dream. Let's say in the dream you are having so many troubles. But the moment, in one instant, the moment you become lucid, you become lucid suddenly. And you free yourself from all problems. Do you understand? A demon is chasing you, this is your dream, you are free from the fear. And you don't need to run, escape anymore. Maybe you're facing like 10 different problems together, right? Somebody is chasing you and you feel very tired and you call someone and they don't hear you, many things are going on. But the moment you realize this is a dream, all problems are finished. And lucid dream means Buddha, awaken. It's not like you wake up from the dream, right? It's not you wake up from the dream, but in the dream you become lucid. Once you become lucid, it's called the Buddha. It's called the Buddha. Okay? And that's all about Ati Yoga's, Ati Yoga's teaching. And Ati Yoga says also now and here in this life we need to become lucid. Now and here. So again, when we get lost, we get stuck in the memories, we worry about future, and there are so many distractions and we get distracted, right? And then we get lost. Or when we have an emotion, we get lost with bad emotions, right? When you are angry, we get lost with this anger. So then anger is like our master, and anger tortures us. But Ati Yoga is saying always the opposite. If you don't get lost in the anger, and we can always master the anger, right? Anger is just an energy. You only need to recognize. I said the introduction. The introduction always says we have to recognize everything is an energy and light, right? For example, when you are angry, normally nobody analyzes, what your anger is, right? Anger is like a stress. It's a very, discomfort feeling, right? You feel the pressure on the chest, or breathing fast, or nervous, and you forget everything, or you are confused. That's the symptom of stress, right? Is it?
So what's the symptom of stress?
All these things are. Anger, pressure, discomfort, all these things. But the funny thing is we never, of course, we think of the reason why we are angry or why we are stressful, right? Because of somebody or because of something. We have an external reason. But we never goes inside to see what is our stress or what is our anger. So that's the problem. According to Ati Yoga, it says stop searching things outside. Go inside to see the nature of your anger or nature of your stress. So if you go inside and you see it, even it's anger, it's a stress, it's only light. Luminous, blissful, Professor's word, luminous, blissful, all-pervading light. Right? And then anger, this is called self-liberation. The anger liberates anger itself. You don't need an external, you don't need an external antidote, okay? Of course, compared to Maha Yoga and Anu Yoga, Ati Yoga is higher. So that's why Ati Yoga says, if you're very good at Ati Yoga, you don't need to practice other yogas, because Ati Yoga, in a very simple way, to bring you the essential point, okay? Like you are angry, you have to look, you have to, catch your anger, and then look in the nature of anger. What, how the anger look like. In reality, Ati Yoga says there's no anger. It's not something blocked or stuck that's causing troubles, right? It's only a misunderstanding. Anger is only misunderstanding. So we don't recognize the nature of anger. If you know the nature of anger is light, and then anger is gone. Okay? And for also like why we have so many, traumas and dramas, right? Our traumas and dramas are coming from the past, right? And we carry these traumas and dramas for like weeks or months of months, years of years. And some people, they carry the traumas whole life, right? Ati Yoga says, where is the trauma? Where is it? And how it look like? Ati Yoga says, look inside of your mind and try to find trauma, drama, whatever you see. Ati Yoga says there is only light, there is nothing. There is no dark, something dark and block it there forever, right? So the only thing, if we feel there is something, because we misunderstand. We misunderstand. And that's why it seems there is something, and that one is called the blockage and disturbing us. But if you go there to look, there is nothing, only light. So when you realize there is nothing, and then trauma and drama is gone. Do you understand? There is a very simple, example in the Ati Yoga's teaching. It seems there is a door there's a door, there's a room, it's closed, right? And you always believed that somebody is there. Okay? You always believed a bad guy is inside that room. It's a temple, it's a beautiful one, but you always think somebody's there. And you never open that door, right? And then you get lost all your thoughts. You are thinking, oh, maybe this bad guy is a man, or maybe women, or maybe it's a demon, maybe this, We can have so many different ideas about that bad guy. The problem is you never enter. And you have so many, your mental projections and your ideas, this, right? And you talk with other people, oh, there's, somebody's there, I feel it, this and that. You make stories all your life, you never enter. That's stupid, right? Ati Yoga says, and open the door of your mind, okay? Every emotions, like they are kind of locked. Open the door. So you enter in that, you open the door, enter that room, you say, wow, nobody's there. There's only light and Buddha. Right? So you entered and you saw that nobody is there, and all your fear, all your stories, like 100 different kind of fears, 1,000 different type of stories, they are all gone at once. Okay? So that's called Ati Yogas is saying why the introduction is so important. Why the introduction is so important. So basically, we are kind of really confused and we really get lost in many stupid things. Okay? Ati Yoga says just to go with the light. It's extremely simple, right? Extremely simple. Just to go with the light and go with the light. You see only the light. There's no darkness. Okay? That's why also Padmasambhava says, when you feel the darkness, like our society is dark, maybe your family relation, everything is so bad. We see so many darkness, right? And how do you say? Mental issues, and there's inner darkness. There are so many layers of these inner darknesses, right? And Padmasambhava says, the darkness, he says, now I don't know how to express in English. He says that if the darkness is more dense, and the light of Ati Yoga is becoming more bright. Do you understand? So Padmasambhava says the darkness cannot, hide or destroy the light of Ati Yoga. He says the light of Ati Yoga shines more if the darkness comes more. Okay? So that's Ati Yoga. So that's why I think for our time we don't have much time, for meditation, and we are so busy and this and that. I think it's really, of course, in Tibetan tradition, Ati Yoga is called the secret teaching. You can receive Ati Yoga teachings, after doing many other practices. And then finally the teacher says, okay, now you get Ati Yoga. It means now you go home. But in our time, the difference is, in our time, we don't have much time for doing so many other practices. So that's why I think to understand that Ati Yoga's teaching is very, very important. Once you understand it, you practice it, you will experience. It will work. Once Ati Yoga's practice works once or twice for you, you repeat it again and again, and then you see it really works, and then you get self-confident. Okay? Ati Yoga has 3 steps. First is called the introduction. Okay, introduction. What's the nature of your body? What is nature of your body?
Light.
What is the nature of your skin? And what is the nature of your belly? Light. So you have lots of light. Then why we worry about the belly size, right? We have only extra light. We don't have extra fat. Okay? You see, we we blame ourselves. We always attack ourselves, blaming, I'm this one, I'm that one, that, There's always this negative thoughts, attacking. We never stop attacking ourselves and blaming ourselves. Ati Yoga says, stop. Everything is the light. Okay? And so that's, body is light, energy is light, our mind is light, and infinite light. And then we call it Lunga Yusum Yermel, means at end, body and energy and mind, there is no separation. They are in one nature. There is no separation. So after introduction, more Untitled Chapter means then the introduction. Second one is called the decision. Okay, to make a decision. Today it's so difficult to make a clear decision, right? Because of our confusions, this and that. And Ati Yoga says, if you really understand, but nature of everything is light, then you have to make a strong decision. Okay? What is your decision? Everything is light. Right? You have to make a decision. Otherwise, we are always full of doubts, I think this is one of the worst part in the spiritual practice. You are doing some practices, some meditation, yoga, you are always doubting yourself. You are doing the right one, maybe you are doing the wrong one, this and that. Do you doubt in yourself? Ati Yoga says you meditate and you don't doubt yourself that you are doing something wrong. Okay? So, decision. You have to make a strong decision. After decision, what comes? Confidence. Okay? Self-confidence. That's also very, very important. Ding la confident lam na digra.
No.
Ding topa. Ding ngalate ding yosete.
Yeah. No, no.
Confident ruate.
Yeah, confidence, I think so, yeah.
Okay? Introduction, decision, and confidence. That's all what we need in our life. Okay? Is Ati Yoga easy?
How do you learn it?
How do you learn it? You read my book. Ati Yoga itself, it's a very simple practice. So I wrote many things in this book. The thing is, to making decision is not easy. Do you understand? You go for a teaching and one teacher says, maybe one Indian teacher says, Tibetans are saying something wrong. The truth is this and that. Then you think, this is right, makes sense, you see? So you change your idea again. Then another one says, this one is right. Then American guru says, all these Asian things, they're saying many different ways. We need an American meditation, this and that. You think, this is something fit, something suitable for me. Do you understand? There are so many informations and there are so many teachings and ideas. And we are not confident any of this because we cannot make a decision. We cannot make a decision because we are not introduced in a precise way. Right? So these things, everything goes together. And you really, if, for example, Ati Yoga says, all this in a very simple way. I don't mention the names. You see in this room, in Tibet house, you see so many different images of Buddhas, right? Buddha Amitabha, Buddha of Pure Land, infinite life, and Buddha of compassion, and
it's that's a Bumbo. It's a burn version of that.
Manjari.
The female deity, actually. I forgot her name. Maybe they have it there. It's a burn deity. Just as burn deity, nobody knows the name.
Okay. So Ati Yoga says, whatever deities and Buddhas you see here externally, Ati Yoga says, nothing is externally, everything is internally. All right? So all these images, this sacred image?
No.
Sacred images,
Yes,
all
yes,
these images, paintings, tankas, they are just expression of our inner quality.
Mm-hmm.
The quality of our mind, the quality of our energy, and the quality of our Vajra body. Okay? So Ati Yoga says, don't go out to searching things. We have to go in to search, and we only simply need to discover ourselves. Do you understand? So that's the introduction part. If you really think that way, then you have to make a very strong decision. Right? If you're able to make a very strong decision, making decision, and then you meditate. The more you meditate, then the more you get self-confident. And then nobody else can influence your mind anymore, or your mind is becoming very flexible. Everything is okay for you, right? Somebody is saying, are you practicing Ati Yoga? Do you want to go to church, to pray to Jesus, this and that? You say, yes, no problem. What's your problem? Right? There's no problem between religions. There's no problem between schools and traditions. Like Professor is saying, we should not be sectarian. When people are sectarian, those are the ones who are confused. They conflict themselves and then they want to conflict with others. But if you really understand the true meaning of spirituality is not closing up, it's opening. It's opening. Like Ati Yoga, it opens your door, it opens your heart, it opens your mind like infinite space, right? And then why you stuck in one point or one practice and so on, right? Like Ati Yoga says, infinite space is our own mind, right? Inner space, infinite space is our own mind, infinite time is our own time. our inner time. So that's why if we are able to, Professor mentioned about master, master. Professor said he doesn't like this master. I like this word, English word master, because Ati Yoga really says we need to master ourselves. If we are able to master ourselves, we can master our body, we can master our speech, we can master our mind, our emotions, everything, then we can master the time and we can master the space. And then we can master everything. All right? So that's about Yuthok's Ati Yoga. And I told you the reason why I wrote many pages. There are many pages to read. Actually, not so many. One part is Tibetan, one part is in English. For me, it's difficult to write in English, so I wrote in Tibetan. Then I'm more precise with the words. Because again, you need to read these things because to making a good decision. Do you understand? It's not so easy. You read. I think everybody knows. Today's our problem is the bombardment of informations, right? Bombardment of informations. There are so many informations about yoga, meditations, this and that, and so it's another main cause of our spiritual confusion, right? So that's why it's good to read the books. You read more and more the books, and they really help you to understand, and then you are able to make a decision. Once you make a good decision, then your practice is stable. Meditation practice is stable. Then something, finally, it will work. Okay? And then my final word, Yuthok said, for example, he said there are many different kind of gurus, The guru of lineage, the root gurus, guru of all phenomena, and guru of life. You know who is the best guru? The best guru is your own life. Your best guru is your own life. There is no other better guru than that, your own life. Right? And actually that's also the best book in the world, Your life is the best book for you, right? And Yuthok says the best guru is your life. It's true, because every moment, every aspect of our life, we are learning and we are learning. We keep learning, right? We are learning in daytime, we are learning night with the dreams, and next day again. Our life is all about learning process, right? And then he's another guru. He call it black guru without anger. Do you know what guru is that? A black guru without anger. That's the book. Yuthok said, book is a guru. Why he call it a black? Because the good books you read many times. You read it again and again. Sometimes you are so excited and you read it, without washing your hand. After eating like this, then one day the book will become black.
It's greasy at the page.
The Tibetan pechas, spiritual teachings, if you look the old books, they are kind of black.
Yes.
Because the people, they read it again and again and again. So this is called the black guru without,
that's so nice.
Without anger. Okay? So
without anger, why is it without anger?
Anger. Kontromeva.
So the book doesn't get mad at you.
Yeah, exactly. You read it and you say, I don't understand you. Bah! It's okay. Right? But if you tell something bad about your physical guru, the human guru will get mad of you. so always delicate, right? Your guru's relation. But with book is okay. You can use all these bad words, right? You can say, fuck you. Yeah, you say Vapankulu, guru is okay.
Again, I understood
Yeah.
that. It's not that I don't like the word master, but I like the Tibetans translated guru as Lama.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they made an improvement. Because guru in Sanskrit, means a heavy thing.
Yes, heavy.
Like a heavy weight on your hand. But a Lama means someone you can't get past. The Lana Mepa, you can't get over them, you can't get past them.
Yes.
So that's why I don't like highest yoga tantra. People say Lana Gyu Lame, you know, Lame Gyu. They say highest yoga tantra because they want something higher, you know. They want to be higher and they want something higher. They're snobs, you know. You know snob?
No, I don't.
But snob is like, in German
yes,
they say Hochnäsig.
Yes, I know.
High nose. In German they say, it's not the highest yoga, I have highest yoga tantra. But you know, Tibetans say, Lame Gyu Anuttara Yoga Tantra in Sanskrit, meaning you can't get beyond it. So you know, there's a children's tale in America called Tar Baby. And Tar Baby is in, I forgot what story it's in. The Tar Baby, is it Pogo or something? Where's the Tar Baby? Tar Baby's in some story. You know? And this Tar Baby is made of tar, you know, it's like that black oil kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when you see the Tar Baby, then you want to get the Tar Baby out of your way, but when you touch it, you get stuck on it. So you can't get rid of it. You're stuck on it. So I really like Lama. It's really a great word because it means that the Guru knows, the Buddhist Guru, the Ati Yoga Guru knows that you and the Guru are the same person, or same light. And you don't know that. So you think you are going somewhere else. So the Guru already knows that you are there with the Guru, but you don't know that. So the real Guru is you just can't get away from that Guru. It's not that the Guru is on top of you, it's that you can't get away. That's why I like that.
Yeah, that's
Lama,
a very
because
good
of Lama.
explanation.
Lama has a little different, you know, in a connotation than Guru, you know. Guru is Jivutsavu, you know.
Yes.
So I like that black Guru. It's like Tar Baby book. You can't stop reading it. I like that.
Black Guru.
I'm sorry, but I didn't mean
But
to
now
interrupt.
it's
I
white.
didn't mean to interrupt.
Now it's white Guru.
Yeah, well, at first it's white.
Yeah. So my just final word, some tips. When you are very angry or when you are really jealous or stressed, you know, these things come very often, right? The really most important is you don't need to make a meditation posture or meditation breathing. Just that moment when you experience these things and really try to see the nature of these disturbing things, right? Jealousy, anger, stress, to really go inside and to these. And you go there to search and look there again and again, then you really don't find anything. You don't find anything. And then once you don't find anything, then you ask a question. If there's nothing, why am I angry? Right? You repeat that question again, you look this, and then your anger will reduce. Or if your anger is not that strong, your anger will disappear. You have to repeat many times in the beginning until it works. Do you understand? Once you are experienced, then really strong anger comes, you meditate that, it liberates by itself. So that's a very famous word from Ati Yoga. Rangchol, it means a self-liberation. Everything is a self-created. That's why self-liberation is the direct and the fastest solution. Do you understand? So if you are jealous, don't think the causes why you are jealous, right? Somebody did that, somebody had this and that. If you go externally, it's never finished. That's not solution. That's not the solution. Solution is inside. Why the feeling of jealousy is manifesting like an energy. You go inside, you don't see anything. The jealous liberates the jealousy itself. Once all these inner things are liberated, like a dark energy, the dark energy liberated is a light energy. Right? We always experience it's like a darkness, but when you see the nature, it's light, and that's called Ati Yoga.
Really nice. You're making me think a lot. I know. Yes, very nice. You're making me think. Today I was looking, Xiaoming also went today to see this book of Tibetan art, murals, you know, in Tibetan temples. And there's this one Buddha, and I've seen that before, but I wanted to ask you a question about it. This one Buddha, I think he looks like a little, like a yellowish Buddha, and he's holding like this, And then over the two fingers where he's holding, there's two Gyansen, are standing up like that, two Gyansen. But between the two fingers, there's a smile. You know, like a smile. But there's no body, no face, just a smile. He's holding a smile between his two fingers, like this. And then there's the Gyansen above that. Do you know what that is, that Buddha? Did you ever see that? Is that one of the 35 Buddhas of confession?
Maybe, yeah.
You haven't seen that? I hadn't seen that. But I really like that. You remind me of that. No, because that guy asked me, you know, that Tom Laird is so nervous, you know. He has the big plans and big schemes. He's going to go to Carnegie Hall and do this and show the book. You know. So then he says, what is that smile? You know, and I don't know what it is. But I made a guess. Because I do have this one thing I used to say. When Buddha attained enlightenment, right? If someone attained, that means he attained a complete and perfect knowledge of the whole nature of reality, right?
Yes, yes.
I always think, if somebody attained complete and perfect knowledge of whole reality, they might suddenly say, oh no, that's really terrible. Oh, oh no. You know? They could have said that, right, if that's what was reality. But what did Buddha do? He smiled. He smiled. So what does that mean? That means reality is all right. It's very simple. And this one Buddha is just, he's right here. He's also smiling, his face, you know, his body, jewels, you know, Buddha, you know. And he's holding this thing with two little gansen, they look like little trees, little evergreen trees, they're green, you know. And in between is just a smile. There's teeth in the smile too, you know. They can. So that you remind me of that, Gamma. Anyway, thank you so much. Will you sign my book? You gave me.
Yes.
Can you sign my book? Can you sign?
Did you lorona?
You have a pen?
Taming mind. Did you lorona? Injikela.
What does it say?
Did you lorona?
With the purification training, through looking for the mind.
Something about mind. Yeah.
One ought to consummate the practice through thorough investigation, through analytical meditation on the arising, abiding, and passing away of the mind. As Sabdol Tsogduk Rangdol said in his Flight of the Garuda, quote, if you do not inquire into your own mind, whatever virtuous spiritual practices you have undertaken will have no ultimate meaning. This thing called mind is full of lively and prying activity. If you chase after it, you cannot grasp it. It vanishes and dissolves. If you just sit, it will not rest, but fidgets to and fro. This so-called mind of yours, is without exact location, is utterly empty and void, yet it is the experience of a myriad joys and sufferings. Look and see, from whence does this mind first arise? And, quote, that's end quote, then and, quote, from whence is it first born? Where does it currently abide? What shape does it have? When ultimately thoughts have vanished from the basic ground of their own inherent condition, ask yourself, to where have they disappeared to where have they gone? Minutely analyze. When thoughts have expired, how is it that they have passed away? Analyze the birthing and the expiring, the coming and going of thoughts. Investigate until you establish for yourself definitively mind's intangible emptiness and ineffable totally liberated purity. End quote. As Shabgar has written, so should you confirm definitively the nature of mind. Thank you, Gyalma. That's very nice.
That's Ati Yoga practice, page number 115. And then, so we did the body part, body posture.
Yes.
And this is the mind part. Mind is everything's light. And now we do the Ati Yoga mantra, just one syllable. Okay? Do you know the mantra? Guess. Something easier than Om. Yes, you got it. You see? Ati Yoga, Okay, so now we recite that mantra. Just to say Okay, that's easy.
Thank you, Gala.
Right? Everyone
So
knows that
thank you,
mantra,
everyone.
right? Everyone knows that mantra, right? Actually, that's our first language when we were born. We were born with we live with we will die with
Well, you know, actually, Gala, that is the shortest form of Prajnaparamita Sutra.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shortest Prajnaparamita Sutra.
It's yeah?
Yes, They say that in exoteric, you know. It's the short
Mm-hmm.
And because it's, you know, it can mean, negation, but also it's the sound that creates the universe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, makes the universe. So it's both a total negation and total affirmation. When I was young, when I was 20 years old, I decided I really liked the Buddha Dharma. When I learned the alphabet of Sanskrit and Tibetan too, and I learned that a consonant, not a yang, what's the consonant? A selje. Consonant has no sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't say ga without the ah.
Yeah.
You can just go. In all of the United States of America, Harvard University, MIT, they don't know that. They think K all by itself makes a sound. Consonant ka is by itself. They don't know that that's only the ah that makes it a sound. MIT didn't figure that out. They didn't. Do you ever learn that in your school? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's no sound in any consonant. It's even called consonant, like makes a sound. So thank you very much. Made me very happy. A sane culture that knows what a vowel is.
Any questions?
Yeah, there is we stop at 9 usually. We have 2 minutes for questions. But we can go later.
Genyin Tenzin
What?
Genyin Tenzin, Ari Genyin
Tenzin Chodak.
Tenzin Chur, last.
That's my Tibetan name. Tenzin, well, I was a Gelong actually, but that's a monk. But he gave me the name Tenzin Chodak. Chodak is Dharmakirti in Sanskrit, who was a famous philosopher in India, and he used to go around in South India, and when he would go to a town, he would put up a sign like a shoemaker sign or a dentist sign, and the sign said, "Dharmakirti is here. Anybody want to debate?" And he would debate anybody. But then the Brahmins in those days, if they lost a debate, they would commit suicide. But they were so into their intellect, But he forbid that prize. He said, if you lose, you have to study from the winner. How the winner beat you by knowing something better than you. You can't just, it's chickening out to kill yourself. That's because you're ego, because you lost the debate. But he used to debate everybody. So His Holiness said, I gave you the name Dharmakirti because I want you to go back to the West and reject all of the fanatics. debate them, and refute them. So that's my job.
Yes.
Chotak, it's called.
Yes.
Dharmakirti. Thank you. But you know, yes, oh, hello. She's so, Banu, that's Banu. She's from Turkey, and she's a great scholar of Shunyata, emptiness. No, she knows all about emptiness. What?
I don't know anything, but
Thank you again.
I have a practical question.
This
Yes.
is your
I conceptually understand when the stress, one stresses about jealousy, desire, their type of things, but if it's because of someone else's suffering, like your child's suffering or your, I don't know, parents' suffering, how does this work? Like I see it as I see my stress as a light, but it doesn't help the other person to suffer. And
If you are calm and relaxed, and if you get inner peace and self-confident, so that kind of energy for sure help others too. Because also the thing is, of course, if especially our family members, somebody having troubles, and we always want to do something good and express our love and compassion, whatever. But the thing is, I think there are two things. Firstly, it's important we calm down ourselves, because once we are calm, our mind is clear. Then once your mind is clear, then you know clearly what you can do for the others, right? I think that's important. Because sometimes it's true, we cannot change their conditions, but we can change our condition, how we can handle that kind of, sadness or sorrow or whatever. Once these things, when we are able to handle very well, very positively, for sure, then we can use that energy or transmit that to the others too. This is actually also my personal experience. So for me, my life story is, I was born in a nomad tent in a very wild grassland, I'm still a nomad traveling around. And then I grew up, our lifestyle, if I think now is the life, it was so harsh, so difficult. Like now in Tibet is full of snow, maybe minus 30 and 40, so cold, but we are living in the tent, So we are so kind of like emotionally we are very, very strong, right? And so how do you say? That's why I always had this kind of desire. I thought I was living in the nature. Nature inspired me to do more like search spiritual practices and do meditation and these things. So then I tried like so many meditations, chanting mantras, doing visualizations and this and that, and doing prayers and doing rituals for others, for helping others, Of course, in Tibetan tradition, if somebody is having difficulties or sick or whatever, we do prayers or medicine, whatever, these things. And I went through so many of these things. But for me, when I meet Ati Yoga, it's really, I found something inside. Like a tool you can use for yourself and use others. So that's my life experience. Also, working with my own emotions is the same, Sometimes you do like hundreds of thousands of mantras, but your mind is still untamed. You have still so much anger, stress, and this and that, Because I think sometimes spiritual practice also, some kind of practice is like a distraction. We have to finish number of mantra, and we have to do many things and this and that, We search, we take them too much externally. Because Ati Yoga really affected me, it's something just about us, about ourselves and about our own mind. And then at end you see, when you know how to work with your own mind, that can really help you to change everything. Of course, changing your life and changing your view, and also changing, the relations with others, family members or friends or whatever. I think like everything changed. And other people can feel that too.
Now, I think unfortunately we probably have to go unless there's some burning questions. I should announce at the end Genla, tomorrow it's coming to Menla Mountain Retreat, 2 hours north, or 2.5 hours from downtown, in Phoenicia, New York. And he will be teaching, and I'm helping him, or he asked me to help him a little bit. And I will be teaching the Book of the Dead and the Barlow Yoga of the Yuthok, the great Yuthok Yonten Gonpo, who's still alive there. Do you know in the book, I want to show you again, in the Dalai Lama's vision of the future Tibet, at the very last minute, in making the final changes, and the final editing, in the vision of the future Tibet, which is a healing place, I managed to slip in Yuthok Yonten Gonpo there. Look, see?
Yes.
This is Dalai Lama in future inviting all the people from Russia, India, and China, and Southeast Asia, and to visit Tibet as a healing Menla, the whole of Tibet as a healing Menla. That's His Holiness' vision for future Tibet, which he told me in 1981 at Harvard University when I interviewed him. I asked him what did he want the free Tibet to be. At the time there was no question about free or autonomous or with China or without. It wasn't a question of just free. So culturally free. And he said he wanted Tibet to be like Switzerland of Asia, where people would go to be healed. And they would go from the Beijing or from Delhi or from Moscow or New York or San Francisco, whatever, and they would go hiking in the fresh air, and there's a lot of mineral springs, right? You have a lot of hot springs, healing, mineral waters they have in Tibet, because there's a lot of volcanic activity there, under the Himalayas, and fantastic herbal medicine. And this was 1981, and I don't think you were even born that time. Were you there?
I was 10 years old.
What? You were 10 years old. So he was saying that's going to be the national industry of Tibet, should be healing people. And actually there are 60 clinics, I think, Tibetan medicine clinics in India, maybe 20 in Nepal. There's in China, snowland medicine is a very big market. I think they're very popular. And it is just beginning in the West, because everybody here doesn't know that consonants can't make any noise. They're so smart.
Medicine brochure.
And they know how, only they don't know about the healing with nature, So Genla is a great doctor, by the way. He's like very, very good. Very, very helpful doctor. Extremely good doctor.
Normally,
doctor is a servant of people,
Thank you.
What?
So if you want to read some very short thing about Tibetan medicine, you can read this brochure. Introduction to Traditional Tibetan Medicine. Just one page that gives you general view of Tibetan medicine. Okay, thank you.
When the pills do expire, you make the pills and then what's the expiration date? Or you can eat it all the time. I had the pills for 2 years.
You show me tomorrow.
I'll show you tomorrow. I want to know when
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Imagine in China, if the Chinese created Tibet as a Switzerland, how much money they could make having people come for rejuvenation, for at the spa.
This video was brought to you in part through the generous support of the Tibet House US membership community and listeners like you. To learn about the benefits of Tibet House membership, including special invites to Dorset tours with Robert Thurman and friends with geographic expeditions, trips in 2018 include Bhutan. To learn more, visit bobthurman.com. Tashi Dalek, and thanks for watching.